Okay, we are live today. Today is we have a very, very special announcement for all of you today. Today, we're going to talk about something that we have been looking at for the past 5 or 6 months that we are going to announce today. It's going to help men, but it's really, really going to help all of our women that are following us in the Facebook group, that might be following us on LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Now, what we're going to focus on today is a new sales training program that's built specifically for women. And we're going to bring out this sales trainer that focuses on that subject, okay? Some of you might be surprised. This is going to be really, really good for you, okay? So I hope you guys are paying attention. Now, if you're brand new, so we're going live here on StreamYard. We're going live here in our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. Got about 53,000 of you in there running around. Our Facebook business page, about, I think, 85, 90,000 of you in there. My Facebook, hello, friends and family, LinkedIn, and our YouTube account. And if you're brand new, you just started following us on one of these platforms. My name is Jeremy Miner. I'm the founder, not even the chairman anymore. I got demoted. I'm just the founder of Seventh Level. Okay. Now we are an organization that trains salespeople exactly like you. Okay. So we train sales executives like you. We train sales management like you, sales leadership. We train coaches, consultants like you, entrepreneurs, business owners, and we train you and your teams how to use specific skilled questions and techniques that actually work with human behavior. What does that even mean? Rather than work against it. If we don't understand those differences, it's why we're losing so many deals that we could be making. We're going to talk about that today. And we're going to talk about that from a female point of view. I don't like that word female, feminine point of view with this sales trainer that we're about to bring out in a second. Okay. Now, if you're on here right now, if you're on the live, now that's called actually NEPQ, right? So neuro-emotional persuasion questions, because we not only have to teach you the right questions, but we also have to teach you the right tone. And we'll talk to this individual about tonality and what that means from a woman's point of view. But the tone has to be, because there's certain parts of your questions that require more of a curious tone. Like, can you walk me through what you got? Can you walk me through what you're doing? That's more of a curious tone. There's other parts of your sales process and questionability that requires more of a skeptical or challenging tone. Well, when do you know when to be more challenging in the conversation compared to not being? Okay, because that might be important for you. And then there's other parts of the sales process and questions that you're asking that require more of a concerned tone, a tone that shows more empathy. Well, when is that? What questions do I need to ask in that type of tone? And we're going to talk a lot about that today. All right. Now, if you're on the live right now, I want you to post #live. Okay. So if you're on the live right now, post #live. And I better see there's over 100 of you on here between YouTube, LinkedIn, and our Facebook group. So I want to see #live. I better see tons of #lives. And I want to see if you're on the replay, post #replay. So if you're on live right now, thank you, Toby. Thank you. A bunch of Facebook users, a bunch of guys here. We got a bunch of women here too. Kendra, Bob. All right, Matt, thanks for doing that. If you're on the live, post #live. Now, also, I want you to take your phone, because I know you guys are on your phone. You're cool kids. And I want you to smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. So grab your cell phone. I want you to smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. Smash the heart button, smash the like button. I better see hundreds of smashed likes, and I better see lots of smashed hearts for me to introduce this individual to you, okay? And we're going to go over kind of what we're doing with that and what that means to you, especially if you're a woman. What are the subtle difference between how men and women sell? Now, if you're a man, do you need to understand the subtle difference in your prospects who are women? And if you're a woman, do you need to understand the subtle difference between selling to another woman or to a man? And if you're a woman, how do you use your natural ability that really God has given you as a female to really tie into NEPQ with what you sell? Okay. All right. So without further ado, because I know none of you care about me, you only care about yourself. You're so stingy and selfish over here, which is fine. You're a human being. All right. So I'm going to bring out this individual. Now, we met this individual at an event. This was back in September. we actually just stumbled into her, like just fate stumbled into her. Okay. And we'd been talking about this. We'd looked at, so we're all about our data as a company. And we're looking at all of our clients, that are, corporations compared to just, regular individuals that sell anything. And we're looking at all of our clients. We're like, what is going on here? We're like the bro club. 87% of all of our clients are men. I'm like 87%. That makes no sense. Like it must be something in my hair. We're not attracting any women to the training, or something's going on. I don't know what's going on. We're just a bunch of guys in this company. And I remember before going to this event, we were talking about last summer, like we need to bring in female sales trainers that really understand human behavior. Okay. We're a big enough company where we have the resources to do that. We need to bring in women that really understand human behavior, that understand those subtle differences. And by fate, a lot of times when you start talking about things, it's just God puts people in your path that are just supposed to be there. And we ran into this person. So I'll tell you a little bit of a background of it before I bring her out. We're at this event in Orlando. This is the end of September. And Marco said, hey, if you guys don't know who Marco is, he's one of our business partners. So Matt and I, Matt's the CEO, I'm the founder. Marco's our chief revenue officer. He's an equity holder in the company. Marco runs all of our marketing. Okay, he's a genius, all right? Any ad you've ever seen is from Marco. And Marco's like, let's have a contest where we walk out, in the hallway. There's like 5,000 people at this event, and we're going to pay them $200. We're going to ask them an objection. If they can overcome it, we'll give them $200, or we're going to film it. So we start walking out there, and I'm like talking with this one guy about an objection that's getting filmed. And I look over, and Marco's talking to this lady. She's got really like bright red hair, like she shines out, like you could see her from like a mile. And I walk over there, and he's like giving her like a money objection. I'm like, wow, that was really interesting the way she answered that. I really like that. That was really good. And then from that day forward, right after that, I didn't have a chance to talk to her because I was talking to other people, but I said, Marco, I want you to go recruit her. That's exactly what I said to Marco. I'm like, go recruit her and bring her in as a female sales trainer. And I didn't even know she had a sales training company at this point. I didn't even know. I had no idea. Okay. So as we got to know her, met her more, talked with her more, our visions were really aligned. And we're like, she is the perfect person to partner with this new sales training program that is for females only. Okay. But if you're a man, you probably want to learn how to sell to females. So this is an important part. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her out. Okay. She is the CEO of a company called Elite Saleswoman, the one and only Kayla Hodges.
Hey,
Kayla Hodges, how are you?
I am absolutely fantastic.
Okay, good. Now, some of you might be like, oh my gosh, I know Kayla or whatever. I'm not sure if you do or not, but this is Kayla. Now, make sure I want all of you guys to join her Facebook group, her free Facebook group. We'll talk about that. Women in Sales. And we're going to drop some links in here, especially if you're a female. Now, she focuses on female sales training only from a feminine point of view. I'm probably saying that wrong. I want you to follow her on Instagram as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, Kayla, let's kind of jump into this, because I always have to ask this question, all right? And I ask this to clients, anybody, okay? Were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced questioning skills?
You know I was, Jeremy. Of course.
You were just born out of your mother's womb?
No, of course not. I really sucked at sales when I first started.
Yeah.
And absolutely not. Did not have that ability. Did you, or do you know anybody?
I unfortunately, I didn't have that superpower, I guess. Now, were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced tonality skills?
No.
Okay, so you're saying you weren't born advanced questioning skills. What about advanced objection prevention and handling skills? Were you born out of your mother's womb with just knowing all that?
Sadly, that is also a no. Yeah.
Okay, so what you're suggesting to everybody on here is you had to go out and acquire those skills. You had to learn those skills to be able to get where you're at.
I did.
Okay, that's good. All right. So I want to talk about this. So maybe walk us back. Like, you're still in your 20s. You're like, rocking it with your sales training company. I loved it when I started watching your stuff on IG, 5-6 months ago, we met at that event. Walk us back. Like, how long have you been in sales? Like, how did that all start? Let's talk about that. And then we're going to talk about our new program for women, NEPQ Red. NEPQ Red, we're going to talk about the specifics of that. If you're a woman on here, you're going to die after you hear this. All right, so walk us back. How did you get in sales? What happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my very first sales job came by accident before I was in the restaurant industry for like 10 years and
Yeah.
was finally given this great opportunity to go into sales. I was a B2B job, smart home automation. And what we would have to do is walk onto job sites and convince these builders to give us their blueprints.
Yeah.
And then we would wire the home and be then introduced to clients where we would sell B2C afterwards, systems that costed between $30,000 to $3 million.
Okay. Yeah.
I was horrible.
Okay. So you just epic fail. Now tell us why, like what type of sales training did they put you through? How did they teach you how to sell, or how did they force you to sell in back in the day?
There was no training. It was basically like, go figure it out. They're like, just go onto the job site. And what I noticed, which is what we'll go into in a little bit, but it was really easy for me not to get kicked off of a job site. Okay. I feel like us ladies have this really great ability to obtain meetings really fast.
Yeah.
What I also noticed is that, no one would buy from me or take me seriously.
Okay.
And secondly, some of the people that I'm trying to develop business relationships were wanting to take me to dinner and wanting to make me feel uncomfortable, texting me weird, just completely crossing my boundaries. And I didn't know how to navigate that. Right. And then trying to buy every sales training that I can get my hands on, every sales book that I can get my hands on, utilizing all that.
Yeah.
Then eventually going into B2C sales and in the online space, doing 220 calls a day.
Yeah.
To a point where I just started feeling really out of alignment with every single training that I had done.
Tell us a little bit about that, because we've been talking about this for several months while we're launching NEPQ Red. You said you went through all this kind of like old school traditional sales training stuff. You read all these books, you went through these courses, but you found it's just like, I don't feel comfortable selling this way. Tell us from a female point of view why that was.
It made me feel not safe.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, the time that I was calling 220 calls a day.
Yeah.
And I would be given a sheet of paper that had all the objections that somebody could possibly say and what I was supposed to say back. Right. I'm like, okay, I'm good. If they give me an objection, all I do is look down the sheet and then I'm like, this is what I get to say.
Yeah.
So then somebody gives me an objection. I'm not interested. I'm like, I'm not interested. Go to the sheet. Agree. We're like, of course, totally understand. Sir, absolutely, you're not interested. If you were interested, you'd be calling me versus me calling you. Now, what is the biggest problem in your business today so I can help solve it? That was what I was supposed to say.
Right. That's the worst ever.
Right?
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that because it doesn't work.
No, right? And so then I would get people that were getting mad at me and yelling at me, hanging the phone up on me, telling me to stop calling them and being frustrated with me. Or I would do really well in a sales call, but then I would get to the end and the person didn't want to buy. And so then I was taught to push for the sale. Don't get off that call. Yeah. Push the sale. And it made me feel so uncomfortable because I could feel how uncomfortable I was making the other person feel. As women, we're naturally more empathic.
You felt not only could you feel that they felt that sales pressure, but internally as a human being, you felt the pressure yourself.
Correct. Yeah. And then I would stop selling as well as I had previously done. And, I feel like just something wasn't working.
Yeah.
And no matter how many trainings, I woke up at 4 a.m. every single day to learn because I was so bad at sales. So every single morning, 4 a.m., I was studying because I was craving wanting to be successful so much. And it was just so frustrating because every single thing that I was learning then again was coming back in my face and making me feel not safe in my role at my job.
So it was out of alignment. So when you're out of alignment, because you've talked to us a lot about this, right? Because we're coming from a male's point of view, that works with human behavior, but you're coming from that female point of view that works with human. And there's some little subtleties and some tweaks and differences. But because you felt uncomfortable, you're like, I can't go and call all these people all day because you felt so uncomfortable. What was going on at that point?
Emotionally, I felt like I was disturbed. And I was telling you about this the other day, Jeremy, that in the olden days, right, with like men that used to hunt buffalo, and you're in your tribe and you're like going out to go hunt, and you're all together and you're going to go hunt and you're about to throw the spear at the buffalo. You don't automatically go, oh my God, Stacy, my wife looked at me weird this morning and hasn't picked up little Tommy all week and is all upset about it. You don't do that because you are a man. You're naturally designed to hunt. You're designed to execute. You're designed to produce.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I'm designed to nurture. So it really doesn't make sense as to how I can take my emotions that are coming up and just say, you know what, those don't really matter. And I'm going to just put them aside and focus on producing, because I'm not naturally wired to be able to do that. It's very difficult. I don't know if you've been able to see women that have been able to do that, but they're very hard. And, you know, they've been able to shut off stuff and they feel really lonely, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to be that either. How do I create a safe balance for myself? Creating the alignment that I need in order for me to want to produce.
So you went, that makes complete sense. So you went through all this sales training, wasn't really working. What did you have to do to make sure it started working? Like what happened? What shifted for you?
I feel like I just did a lot of trial and error of things that I would think of. As ladies, we are super creative. So creative, right? And so also ladies were natural, like private investigators. If you ever met a woman, she knows how to be an FBI agent secretly, can look up anyone and anything, find anything, right, ladies? So I got so curious on like my prospects. What could I find about them that can make them feel seen by me and resonated with me? And so I would take an extra 15 minutes and I would almost like stalk them, you know, look at different things that I could really find that would help me have a normal conversation, send them creative videos, send them more like personal.
So what you did is you kind of figured it out on the, you know, I figured all that out through like behavioral science and like how the human brain works, but you kind of figured a lot of that just by trial and error, like what worked, what didn't work. And you just, you know, it just took you a while to learn that. But what you learned is how to humanize your sales process from a feminine point of view. So they felt comfortable in opening up to you and telling you what was really going on. You learned how to disarm them and to make sure they let their guard down, so they felt good to open up to you.
Correct. And I think the biggest part of that was tonality. You know, myself, I'm a mom. And so you talk about, you know, different tones of tonality. And I find they're really interesting to like be able to name them. For me, in my mind, I talk really fast. I don't know if you realize that. I talk really fast. And in a sales call, my words were getting lost. And so in my mind, I just started saying, like, if I was talking to my daughter and I was trying to get her to understand something, I slow down naturally. And so I called it my mother tone. I was going to be in a mothery, like lovey voice. I love
that. So we call it a concern tone. You call it motherly tone.
Motherly tone.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So you started figuring this out, and then how did your prospects start, you know, treating you once you really started to have this down compared to, you know, how you were taught how to sell before?
Well, what happened from this is being able to really make them feel seen. I started developing like long listing relationships where I would move like to even different companies in sales, and people would still call me like, can you please sell me something? And I'm like, I'm definitely on something here, including my follow-up. My follow-up process is just so interesting, so good. I've never seen anything like it because I send really funny videos and I'm just silly. And I would start getting messages from people that said, hey, Kayla, like, I'm not going to be buying from you today, but I just want to let you know that this is the best follow-up process that I've ever been able to experience in my life. And then they would call me 2 months later and they'd be like, hey, are you still selling this? I'm like, I'm on something here. You know, and then I would have girlfriends that would come to me specifically and say, hey, I have this program or I have these products. I need to be able to sell them. One girl had 2,000 products in her house just sitting there. So I started developing sales processes for them and teaching them what I was doing. And they started closing and making money. And that was the icing on the cake. Because for me, it was so hard. I always felt like I was trying to survive, trying to figure it out for myself. And when another woman, I taught her how to make money. that was like my fuel. That was my like my passion, my fire.
Helping people. And I know as a quote unquote closer, as a lot of people, because I think you were in like the event sales space and some other industries, but you got up to like 30, 40 grand a month, which is really remarkable, because you weren't there for 10 straight years. Like you got there like in like 3 or 4 months, really quickly. And then people are like, hey, teach me how to sell. And then bam, elite sales women, training started. Now let's give them some nuggets. All right. And let's do this. I want to, well, actually, let's talk about this. Okay. For all of our females on here, okay, that are on this live, watching us on the different lives, we've got 174 of you total in between YouTube, LinkedIn, and the Facebook group watching us right now. In your mind, how do you use what you call that natural feminine qualities you're born with to help close more, to help open your prospects? Give us maybe some pointers there. Like, how do you use that to your advantage that you already naturally have, that men have to learn?
First of all, is our ability to listen. When a woman is listening, she's actually trying to understand.
Right.
Actively trying to understand, which is really essential when it comes to trying to find a problem.
Yeah.
Because we can listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth and seeing which word actually holds more weight emotionally for you.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can have a sense of curiosity and actually go in that because I'm super attentive to what's happening.
Yeah.
Naturally, I don't have to try it. It automatically happens.
You have to teach men how to do that, because we teach men how to listen to what the prospect means, not just what they say, which is really, really unique and differently, right? So that's basically what you're doing. As a woman, you kind of already have that natural ability, like you can listen to what that person means, not just what they're saying. Now, it's an ability that you're kind of already born with, I would say, but it's something you have to keep developing. Would you say that, or you're just perfect?
No, I think that you naturally have it, and then you have to learn how to use it in the sales space.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. It's like you have it, but if you don't know how to listen for it, you don't understand. Right?
100%. It's a natural ability you have, but you have to expand on and know how to use it in a sales role, right? With a prospect compared to a man, compared if you're selling to a woman. What are some other qualities that women naturally have that if you learn how to use it in a sales role can give you an advantage that men have to really learn?
Yeah, we're naturally intuitive, right? If your lady feels something coming up for her, like please listen to her. She's naturally intuitive. She has that sense about her. We're nurturers, which is super important for if you are in a closing position or you are developing relationships and you're in B2B.
Yeah.
As a nurturer, I can make somebody feel safe, feel good, like they want to do business with me. I'm naturally empathic. I can feel what's going on a lot more than men naturally.
I want you to go back to something you said, and then I want you to keep going. When you say that you're able to help the prospect feel safe, psychologically what that does is when the prospect feels safe, they feel safe enough to open up to you and be vulnerable and tell you what really is going on, right?
Correct. I think that comes in 2 parts, because the very beginning of the sale, I want them to feel acknowledged and seen by me in order for them to have permission to open up so that we can actually find out what's really going on here. Because as you know, the problem that they say is not actually the real problem. It's normally about 7 or 8 layers deeper than that.
Usually the first problem they tell you is just the surface of what's really going on. So if you accept that as the real problem or issue, you're not going deep enough to build a big enough gap. And that's why they view your price at the end of that sales process as way higher compared to the problem they have. Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of a call, because I want somebody to not feel safe during the entirety of the call. I want somebody to be able to have some type of breakdown so that they can see that they need to make a change, right? Whether it's in business or personal, depending on where you're at. But at the end of a call, and I feel like most of us ladies have this issue when it comes to people giving us objections. I know I did myself. Somebody gives me an objection, all of a sudden I feel like my body shut down. I'm like, oh God, like what am I supposed to say? Or if they're super like triggered by me and they're aggressive with their objection, or they're like, oh, I had to go, I had to get off a call. And we just allow it sometimes. That's what I felt like I did. I'm like, oh, you have to get on a call. Like, it's fine. I would people please. right? And
That's a
so,
big deal that a lot of women, I think it's one of their weaknesses that we have to make us into a strength is that we become, I've seen a lot of women clients become people pleasers, are like, oh, okay. And like, just do whatever the prospect says. Cause you're in that role, you're more of a nurturer, right? More wanting to make them happy and pleased when really, when they don't buy, you're not really helping them at all. Cause they don't solve the problems and get what they want. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just a mindset, like a mind shift change. You get to think that you're selfish if you let them get off the call.
Yeah.
If I let them get off the call, I'm being selfish and I can't think like that. So if I really want to help this person, instead of trying to think about the best thing to say, what if I was just allowing myself to be like, okay, this person doesn't feel safe right now.
Yeah.
Think about that. If they have an objection, they don't feel safe. Okay, this person just doesn't feel safe right now, or doesn't think this is a good decision for like a company. They're unsafe about that. Like something is going on. Yeah. And instead of me trying to get in there and just like prove them the right answer, I can allow them to feel safe, heard, understood by me, so that we can know that we're on the same team here.
What you're doing is you develop skills that cause them to let their guard down. So letting their guard down means that they feel safe enough or comfortable enough to tell you what their real concern is. Okay. Not because when a prospect says, I want to think it over, that's not a real concern. That's not an objection. It's what they're wanting to think over is the real objection. They're just not telling you that because they don't feel comfortable enough because they feel like you're going to throw out some rebuttal and try to close them. And typically it's a downstream process of, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to ask, that builds a gap from where they are compared to where they want to be. And because you don't know how to build that gap because you're questioning and your tone is off, they have uncertainty in their mind where they view that it's more risky for them to purchase what you're offering than it is to do nothing and stay in the status quo. Your job as a sales professional, men or women, is to get the prospect to see in their mind that it's far more risky for them to do nothing at all. Problems stay the same, far more risky to do that than it is to purchase what you're offering. Problems get solved, they get what they want, which is more risky. That's our job as sales professionals, men and women, to get the prospect to see and feel that. We can't tell them that because that goes in one ear at the other. We're biased for the salesperson, but our questioning ability allows them to tell themselves that. I love what you just said. That's brilliant. Now, how do you, so let's say that they're a guy watching. We got some guys on here. How, in your mind, just a couple of points of like from a woman's perspective, how does a guy, what are some shifts that a guy needs to understand to be able to sell to a woman prospect or prospects better?
I think that when a man's selling to a guy, you can just go straight past all the, mostly formalities and just talk business. Yeah. And logically, let's get something done. Right? Have you ever had the experience if you're dating somebody or have dated somebody in the past where the girl comes up to you and she's telling you a problem and you are like, I'm going to fix this. Right? Because that's what your brain does. I'm going to fix this. Yeah. Well, us ladies, we don't want you to fix it. We just want you to listen. Right? So when it comes to you selling someone, just give us an extra minute while you're going through a problem finding process. Yeah. Because maybe we're just trying to vent about something and we can tell if you're not listening. So if we're going on a rant, have you ever had that experience when you're on a sales conversation with somebody and they're on some random rabbit trail about something that's going on in your life and you're trying to get them back by asking them questions, right? Yeah. You need to be a little bit more conscious. If you're on a call with a lady and she's on a rant, because if she feels like you cut her off to go back to here, she feels that you didn't listen to her, you don't care about her, and that you don't care about who she is, and all you want is her money, and she wants to get off that call as fast as possible. Yeah. So just be a little bit more conscious about that.
100%. And a lot of it is your verbal cues. So as she's talking, you're acknowledging her by making little sounds out of your mouth. It's really that simple. Like if she's talking, you're like, really? Okay. Like, see, those are verbal cues that just acknowledge to her that you're there present in the moment. Right. Yeah. And so when she feels, and this is for men too, when they feel you're present in the moment, they feel like you understand their unique situation more than anybody else. But if you just sat there and then at the end of them saying for whatever they said for 2 minutes, you're like, okay, cool. Gotcha. I'm curious. Let me ask you. it's like whatever they just said, you just threw in the trash, right? All you had to do is just, really? Okay, but walk me back when you said, see, that verbal cue leads into the next question, and she feels acknowledged. But if I just sat there, don't say anything for 2 minutes, and then like, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense. Let me ask you. They're just like, you didn't even listen to what I just said, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that you can also go one step further. If she ever talks about anything personal, like, oh, like my kid, or, oh, this has been really hard at home, or like sometimes you can get super brownie points by just acknowledging her.
Yeah.
Right. Be like, it sounds to me that, you're working really hard and you're a mom, and, I just wanted to honor you really fast. Like, you're doing a great job.
Psychologically, what does that do in their brain?
It allows them to feel seen. And most people don't get the experience of feeling seen by others. Your presence is one thing, right? Because most people don't get to have that experience either. So a sales conversation can be super special for somebody because you have no idea what someone's going through, by really seeing them and holding space for them. And then you taking one step further and acknowledging who they are. Now, it can't be surface level. It can't be like, oh, I really like your hair. Like,
yeah, no, right.
Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, because I think the prospect interprets that, surface level acknowledgement is like, I'm just trying to get you to like me so you buy what I'm selling. I think that's how it comes across. So it has to be like really genuine and like humanized.
Yes, super humanized, and that only happens because you are actively listening. You have to actively listen. And I would only do that if somebody's really ranting. If they're really ranting about like problems, like just take a minute to like just see her, and it really changes the dynamic of the conversation. Ladies, I do this with my ladies too. It's really, really important for them to be seen by you, especially a woman starting a sales call. Yeah. That person has to be seen by you because unfortunately there's a lot of turmoil between women and women over time. And right now we're trying to break generational issues between women against women, and learning how to support each other and honor each other. And so sometimes you get on a call, if anyone has ever experienced this, where like somebody's automatically rude to you, another woman's automatically rude to you on a call or at a business event or anything else, the easiest way to break that is by you acknowledging her, not complimenting her outfit, but just really seeing her and holding space by like honoring her, just kind of how I just gave an example. Yeah. Will really change the dynamic of your entire call.
I love that. It's such a good perspective that I think as, like I said, at seventh level, we're like, okay, so we have tens of thousands of clients, 87% of them are men, right? We've got thousands of female clients that are crushing it and stuff. But I felt like, we need to bring in somebody that has that understands human behavior like you do, that can then go out and has done the thing they are training people to do. I think that's one thing a lot of people miss when they hire sales trainers is like, has the person training you actually done the thing that you're trying to do? Or did they just read some books and had moderate success and now they're a sales trainer? You gotta be careful with that, right? So we wanted to find somebody that's actually legitimate, that actually made hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in commissions when they were in sales. That's hard to find before they became a sales trainer. And that then not only did that, but could actually teach that. It's one thing to do that, right? It's another thing to teach that where people can comprehend it. And that's where we're like, we can take what Kayla is doing, right? And we can combine in that NEPQ process, because a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is NEPQ, right? So that's what, just so everybody knows, that's what we're doing right now with Kayla. So we are building out this NEPQ Red program. It's really I think it's already launched, right? From what I understand, or it's about to launch.
So we basically took NEPQ and we decided to look at all of it, every single little piece, and put it in a feminine perspective.
Yes.
Right. So we took all my sales training and we took NEPQ and kind of like
merge it in a structured process from connection questions to take the focus off you, put on the prospect situation questions, helping them find out the real situation, to problem awareness questions, to solution awareness questions, getting them to see what the future is going to look, and especially as a woman, feel like once the problems are solved and they get what they want, consequence questions, how to present, and then, or how to transition into the next step if you're a more B2B sale, complex sale environment, and then really how to get them to commit to take the next step and purchase what you're offering. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really exciting. I know that I was talking to Marco and he told me that the number one thing that he was having issues with is he's like, hey, we have all this great sales training for our ladies. And I feel like they have all the knowledge. And for some reason, they feel blocked, or for some reason, they're not performing. Some reason they look at the phone and they're like, I'm not calling that thing today. Right. And what is that? And, that's really what I was finding, with my clients, and really creating like two aspects of this. First of all, really having them understand mindset, their personalized, trauma that they possibly been through, and really start working through that so they could feel really freaking powerful and worthy of making the money that they want to make in a really incredible, integrous based way.
Yeah. I love that because, I think what I find really, really valuable about your training, besides all that, is just some of these, especially with females, some of just the blocks they have from maybe past stuff they've gone through, right? You've talked about like, hey, sometimes, women get in these bad relationships and sometimes it affects them being able to get on sales calls and stuff that, as a man, we just don't understand. Maybe talk a little bit about how that affects them sometimes.
Yeah, I think that we all have been through something in our life. Myself personally, going through a lot of trauma with like really abusive, bad alcoholic relationships. And the thing is that whenever I was feeling unsafe, even, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it would come up subconsciously in a sales conversation where somebody, absolutely. At the end, during objections, if somebody would say no to me, right? Or somebody would get upset with me on a call because they didn't understand what I was trying to say, or somebody was telling me that, they don't want to work with me. Internally, it made me feel unworthy or not good enough or something. It was very interesting. And so what I noticed also is that whenever I was selling in a way that didn't feel in alignment with me, I didn't want to call. And so I would just look at the phone and be like, I know I'm supposed to call 200 people today, but like, that's not happening. And I would also know that I'm supposed to take care of my family. So how is it that I know that I'm supposed to, the only way I'm going to feed my kid is if I pick up that phone, and yet I still don't want to do it? That is an issue. And
it's a big issue.
Women have that issue all the time, or feeling bad to go into an office to try to get a deal. You feel uncomfortable starting the conversation. Like, there's so much about that. And all that has to do with things that are internal that have really nothing to do with you, and possibly do something with your past. So if we can acknowledge that, heal from some of that while you're learning the sales skills at the same time, you're going to be so powerful and so unstoppable. Like, no one will have anything on you. You'll know exactly what to do, and you'll feel really, really good doing it.
I love that. And one aspect of our new NEPQ Red program for women that you are responsible. This is your project with us. You're training all. It's NEPQ for women, basically, which is amazing. I love that because the thing I love about this is I have 4 daughters that are really, really important to me. Matt has a daughter, his daughter Summer, and we're always talking like we want them to maybe get in sales. We want them to like have some woman sales trainer that they can follow, that they can believe in and stuff. And so when you walked into the picture, we're like, yes, it's her. That's the person. That's the person. Because we want them to succeed. We want them to have those skills. And as a man, we just don't understand sometimes what's going on in a female's brain, right? Just like sometimes women don't understand men. It's kind of that catch-22. So with NEPQ Red, not only is it the full NEPQ process, from connection questions to situation and problem, consequence, all that stuff. But it's also, like you'd mentioned, you're able to train these women really how to overcome some of that past trauma and the blocks that they have so they can use NEPQ and actually feel, and because it's a comfortable way to sell because it's a humanized sales process, but still we have some of those blocks from our past. It still has a hard time. So your training is not just sales training, but it's also to get them to overcome maybe some of that past trauma and those blocks in their mind, right?
Absolutely. My mission, like, what I would love to create is a world of worthy women.
Why is that so important to you, though?
I think it just has to do a lot with my past and what I've been able to experience, how I've seen, life kind of hit me in the face, hit women that I care about in the face a little bit. And, what would it look like if the world was full of worthy women? Our relationships with men would be different. Relationships with business would be different. With our kids would be different. It starts here, right? As a mom myself, I know that I have to lead my daughter to grow into the best version that she could possibly be. And I cannot lead anybody unless I lead myself first. So it starts here. And watching the women in my container completely transform in a matter of only 2-3 months has been absolutely like mind blowing. For some coming in that were afraid to use their voice or, not putting boundaries, people pleasing. One woman was having issues with her husband all the time. I taught her how to communicate with her husband, and now they're like going on dates every night. He's making her dinner, rubbing her feet, like all this stuff, all with the ability to be able to use these skills, because as women, this is not just about sales. Using these skills, using these questioning skills have made me become a better mom, have made me a better leader, right? It's everything. All the communication that we're doing constantly is only going to help us, make this generation rise in a way that it hasn't before.
Yeah, no, this is beyond just sales training, NEPQ Red. It's life-changing. It's sales training plus it's like, getting these women to like a different level in leadership and the relationships and everything. I love this. This is going to help you're going to help millions of people here with us. Now we've got a couple programs we're launching here. We've got one called NEPQ Red, and we've got one called Advanced Inner Circle Red. Tell us a little bit about what's in NEPQ Red. Can you reveal just a little bit to the ladies out there?
So I wanted to make sure that you had every single thing that you would possibly need in order to learn how to understand the sales process fully, to be able to get on a sales conversation and understand the tonality you're supposed to be using, the type of questions that you're supposed to be using, how to overcome objections, how to follow up in a really powerful, creative way that was in alignment with you, really understanding how to problem find so you can really find the problem so that the person can, close with you. All why I'm working with like mindset stuff. So the very first couple modules are lessons is only for you. I specifically put that together so that you can really step into what it would be like for you to be the absolute fullest version of yourself. So that when we do start teaching the sales training aspect, you feel really powerful and confident in who you are. And you're like, I absolutely can do this. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So the NEPQ Red is going to be the first part is really like, that mindset, having the right mindset and viewing sales and overcoming things maybe from the past that are blocking you from even getting on that call, even getting on Zoom, or feeling like you have to people please rather than, be viewed more as a higher status, as a problem finder, problem solver, as a trusted authority, as the expert, right? How do you get the prospect you're talking to view you as the expert and you feel confident and assertive in that? Because if we can't feel confident and assertive of that, it doesn't matter all the great questions we ask in the right tone. It's just not going to come out the same way, right? You're going to feel uncertain yourself, and the prospect feels uncertain when you feel uncertain, right? So after we go through that, that's when these ladies are going to learn about connection questions that take the focus off them and put on. That's when the NEPQ process comes to life. I've been building this out with Kayla. I'm going to be building out more with Kayla on this myself personally. I've taken this project with Kayla. So we're chunking that up into connection questions and situation questions and problem awareness questions and solution awareness questions, and how to use those in different sales environments. That's like the virtual training portal aspects of that program. Describe to us a little bit more about the Inner Circle Red program.
The inner circle is so powerful. So this is where, the ladies that I'm working with are getting the huge transformations personally as well as in business, right? We just had one of our clients hit her first 100K month. And so that's been really, really awesome to watch her. She came in at 30,000. She's like, Kayla, I just want to get to 100K. I'm like, we're going to do it. Right. And so watching the development has been incredible. What you're going to get in this, I wanted to make it really special because I feel like us ladies, we need a community and we need support. And I don't know if you're used to asking for support, but you're so worthy of asking for support. If you're a lone wolfer like I was, you get to have a community around you that actually care about you. That see you And so we have calls Monday through Friday, every single morning. And the purpose of this is because whenever I'm working with somebody with like trauma, maybe something's coming up for you. Maybe like we had a session through our Monday calls where we're doing breakthrough in trauma every single week. And maybe you had something coming up for you. And on Wednesday, you don't want to call. Wednesday, you don't want to work. You don't want to do anything. When you have that accountability every morning and you're like, hey, like I'm struggling with this, or like, hey, this is what's going on in my world, we can actually support you. You're assigned a buddy in the program, so your buddy's supporting you.
Yeah.
And that's super cool. So we have that foundation, as well as role-playing calls twice a week where you're role-playing your script. And in addition to that, I think that we do sales call reviews as well. So we just really created a program that was going to support you on the highest level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's absolutely
whole 9 yards. Somebody asked like, hey, if I've already been through that inner work, what do I get? So I want to make sure everybody understands it's not just inner work, it's the entire NEPQ sales process as well.
Yeah. So that's just the side. I just get really excited about it. And I will say one thing. I've done a lot of inner work. The inner work is never over. If you think it's over, it's not. I promise you, there's always something. But I wanted to put that first because I think it's different. The main thing that we're doing here is we're focusing on sales. We're focusing on making you the absolute best at what you do in a really powerful way that feels really good inside. While you're having a community of ladies around you that can really support you and honor you and be like, hell yeah, girl, you did this. I'm super proud of you. And you have this camaraderie. You guys have like the bros club. Like we have like this like family of women that have really stepped into this new level of what it means to support other women. And it's really cool to be a part of that. We don't have any people that are like nitpicky or whiny or like mean. We don't do anything like that. It's this really, really beautiful experience to be a part of it. And our whole intention is just to make you as best as you can possibly be, you know?
100%. People are asking, is there a community? Yes. Go. So you see the banner flowing right here. It says women in sales. I'm going to have, if you're a female, if you're a woman, go join Kayla's Facebook group, NEPQ Red. It's women in sales. Women in sales. Just type it in your Facebook, women in sales. You can join the free Facebook group for free. All the announcements about the rollout of NEPQ Red, the portal, we're reworking that portal right now with everything from NEPQ connection questions. So the lady that asked that, is there going to be other things besides inner work? Maybe she's not a client, so she doesn't understand NEPQ, but this is sales training. What Kayla's talking about is you're going to help overcome certain things, you know, that kind of stuff first. But then the rest of, I mean, most of what we train is sales training. What you're training is sales training for women. So we're taking the NEPQ methodology, neuro-emotional persuasion questions, coming in from a feminine perspective. I can't even say that word right. Feminine perspective, the little subtleties, the little shifts, okay, that Kayla understands, okay, that we've worked on together, from connection questions to take the focus off you, put it on your prospect, okay, B2C or B2B, from situation questions that help the prospect find out what the real situation is. Most prospects don't really know, to problem awareness questions like Kayla talks about. How do you become a problem finder and a problem solver, not a product pusher? Well, I hate to tell everybody this, your prospects aren't just going to open up with just any surface level question. They know what you're doing. So there's little subtle different tonality hacks that you have to understand that cause, like Kayla's talking about, the prospect to feel safe enough, or what we would say comfortable enough, for them to open up and tell you what their real problems are. And not just tell you what the problem is, but the root cause. The problem, and you know how the problems are affecting them even personally. If we don't know how to do that, that's why you're not building a gap, right? You're not building a gap, and that's why you're getting massive objections at the end. So how do we get them to see what the future is going to look like once all these newfound problems that your questioning ability has allowed them to see they had, that they didn't even know they had before they got on that call with you, okay? They didn't even know who you were 20 minutes ago. And then how do we rip that away from them with consequence questions that get them to defend themselves on why they feel like they have to change and change with you, right? That's how they pull you in. And how do we get them to commit to take the next step in purchase, or commit to the next step demo, or the next step proposal? So that's what NEPQ Red is all about. I'm really excited about this, as I'm assuming if you're a female and you want to sell more, you probably are excited too. All right. Kayla, so follow her, go join her Facebook group. Okay. We run that with Kayla, Women in Sales. And then we also want you to follow her on Instagram at Kayla Living Boldly. There's a lot of spam accounts out there. Sometimes we get a lot of spam accounts. Make sure it's spelled correctly. I think you have about 15,000 followers since you started there. So Kayla Living Boldly. I think I just looked at it. It's like 14,900 or something. So Kayla Living Boldly on IG, and make sure you go join her Facebook group because she goes live. She goes live in there, I think once or twice a week.
Yeah, we're starting twice a week next week.
Different Q&As, different trainings. That's where all these announcements about NEPQ Red will be rolled out. So it'll be rolled out here in our Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro as well. But it's really going to be rolled out in Kayla's, Women in Sales. Make sure you go join that right now. And then follow her at Kayla Living Boldly at IG. Any last words of advice for the ladies out there, Kayla?
Yeah, I think that I just wanted to press on one thing because in our advanced inner circle, I think the number one thing that you get to learn is tonality with having another pair of eyes on you. It's very different from you saying, oh, I'm going to learn my tonality. Yeah. But do you know when to pause here, slow down here, breathe here, lean in here? Like there's something that happens when you're not going to be able to have that experience unless somebody that's an expert looks at you and can actually guide you.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know, right? If I'm on sales calls, I'm not actively like watching myself. And if I don't have the tools to know what I should possibly change, I won't know where I should possibly slow down.
Yeah. The biggest problem in sales is the problem that you don't know you have. Yeah. Because if you don't know what your problem is, and how could you, unless you have an expert that's actually done the thing that you want to do, then you can't get there. As Jackie said, any woman in sales, new or seasoned, yes, 100%. So this is not just for seasoned women, veterans of sales. This is for if you don't even have a sales job yet and you want to get into sales. Well, I hate to tell everybody this, the time to learn sales is when? After you start making calls, you hope and pray to figure it out, or do you want to learn how to sell before your first call? I'm assuming if you want to be successful, like if you're a brain surgeon, are you just going to try to go learn on the job and hope it works out? No, you have to go to school before. You have to learn how to sell. You have to learn how to do the brain surgery so you can perform the brain surgery. So if you're looking to get into sales, you probably want to learn how to sell before you get in like that sales job. Otherwise, you're not going to last that long. You're going to get fired real quick.
And people are actively looking for women closers. I get messages all the time. Like, do you have any ladies that are ready? Do you have anyone? Because it's just a different dynamic. It's easier for you to get a meeting. And then if you know how to be knowledgeable and you know how to close, oh my gosh, like you're unstoppable. It's so good.
It's a double whammy. Let's see. Somebody just said here, I think this is important here. Joe Warner there. As a current member of Inner Circle, so he's in 7 levels Inner Circle, I can't agree more on the value of actual coaching, not just the portal material books. You can't fix gaps you don't know you have. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to just go through a portal and watch some, content and training or read a book, which you read a book, you retain about 3% of that book, just so everybody knows, just the way our human brain retains things. It's quite another to be able to, like Joe's in our advanced inner circle. I just broke down one of his calls literally an hour ago. And I think Joe was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I was doing that. Right. Mm-hmm. Now he came to us because I'm somewhat of an expert in this, right? I've done the thing that he wants to do. And so I can show him like, hey, when you said this with that tone, you caused him to react to you that way. Do you see how that worked? And he's like, oh my God, I never even thought about that. So important. Kayla, thanks for being on here. We look forward to working with you for several decades here. So thank you for being on here. This is a really exciting time. As a company, 7 levels of a company, when we look at how we approach the market, we are not a company that's just here to make a bunch of money and just go retire. We are a company here that will be here 25 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when I'm not even here. Okay. There will be other people running this business. So we look at it as how can we help the entire market of salespeople, not just men, but really women as well, because that is a huge segment of the marketplace. So Kayla, we're excited to work with you and partner on this project, and we're looking forward to having you on the team. It's awesome.
I'm excited too. I'm excited for the ladies that this is going to help.
Love it. All right, everybody. If you're a female, make sure you go join her Facebook group, Women in Sales. Go there right now, Women in Sales. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, Kayla Living, at Kayla Living Boldly. We will have a live Q&A tomorrow here at 6 p.m. Eastern in the Facebook group, Sales Revolution. So if you're on my YouTube, if you're on our YouTube channel, if you're on LinkedIn, my Facebook, make sure you go to salesrevolution.pro as well to make sure you're on that live tomorrow. And if you're a female, get into Kayla's Facebook group and follow her on IG. I can assure you, we are very serious about picking the right trainer for women that actually knows what the hell they're doing and has actually done the thing that you want to do yourself. That's really important to us. We are really picky about this. We don't just pick anybody. So this is what we're going back and forth with Kayla for the last 4.5 months, getting all this ready and done for you guys. And we're bringing this market for you, NEPQ Red. Thanks so much, Kayla. We will see you soon. You're in the conference room. You're just down the hallway from me.
Yeah.
We even had her move to Scottsdale, Arizona, in her corporate offices, all the way from Miami. Well done. She just got here a week ago. How's Scottsdale for you?
It's dry.
It's dry. It's the dry heat, right?
It's dry. I'm investing in lots of moisturizer here, so I can hear for.
A little bit different than Miami, Florida. Awesome. She's in our corporate offices. We get to see her every day. All right, everybody.
I like it.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Kayla. We'll see everybody soon. See everybody tomorrow. Awesome. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.